everyone, I am Katarina for the Wow Embossing YouTube channel. Thank you so much for joining me while I share how I made this lovely card using warm fiery tones with some stunning golden glow. Starting off with an oval die set, I have mine from Chloe's Creative Cards. I took out two dies that are sitting next to each other in size. With the slightly larger one, I die cut a white oval, and then I picked out a stencil from this 4-piece set by Textures, and I picked out the one that reminds me of an explosion, which I thought was perfect for some fireworks inspired sparkle. I'm using black matte underneath just so I can see where I'm adding my details with a transparent texture paste by Ranger. And then I am bringing in some of my new glitters. These are the Earth Sparkle range by Wow. These are biodegradable glitters and I am in love with these. So I'm just sprinkling some of the red anywhere on that detail really. Then I'm coming in with a Prism Gold, which is gold but has so many bursts of colors right through it. It's just stunning glitter. So I'm just going to add little here and there again. I'm just going to tap my jar here too for some bigger blobs as well. And then I'm coming in with my silver prism, which is again a lovely silver with lots of colors through it. Perfect for fireworks, I think. So I'm just adding this all over that oval, or the top of the oval, and this will stick everywhere where the other two colors haven't stuck to. And just look at that, so many gorgeous colors. Now I'm going to have to set this panel aside to dry a little bit because of the transparent paste. And while that is drying, I have cut with the smaller die an oval window into a 6x6-inch card, which I am going to now emboss with the Decadent Dots embossing folder by Chloe's Creative Cards. Running it through my die cutting machine will leave me with that gorgeous embossed details all over. Next, I'm going to work on my flowers. From the Flower Power stamp and die set, I taken out the largest and the medium sized die. Die cut the larger twice and the medium sized once, dabbing them into my Wow Embossing ink pad, and then I am bringing in the magic. It is the Night on the Town duo. This is stunning. One of them has orange tones, the other one red, both of them with some gorgeous golden glow. I'm starting with the Glass of Fizz, which is the red one, and I'm adding this in the middle of my flower and just spraying it out a little bit towards the end of the petals as well. Flipping them upside down, I'm tapping away any excess, which I will be able to put back in my little jar to save it for my future projects. And then I'm going to come in with the orange one, which is called the Sparkling Sunset, and I'm going to sprinkle these all over. Again, these will stick to everywhere the red color hadn't gotten to yet. Look at that gorgeous sparkle already. It's not even heat set yet. For the smaller petal, I'm only going to use the red one, the Glass of Fizz. The names of these sparkling embossing powders might sound suited to summer crafting, but I do think that they are perfect for capturing those fiery warm tones of autumn as well. To heat set these, I like to go from underneath first to preserve most of the golden glow in there, and then I give it a blast from the top as well. This way I made sure that all those golden bits melted into the powder rather than blowing them all over my craft mat. How gorgeous is the two-toned effect on my flowers? The touch of golden shine makes them absolutely mesmerizing. To shape my petals, I'm just pinching down the middle of each of these on all three of the layers. And then I'm just going to use my hot glue gun to layer these up on top of each other. When doing so, I like to offset the petals. This gives a much fuller look to my flowers. This way I'm creating some luxurious three-dimensional embellishments for my card. Off camera, exactly the same way I prepared the second flower I will be using too on my card today. We need some foliage to go with my flowers. From white card I've die cut using the Leafy Foliage die set from Chloe's. Again, dabbing them into my Wow Embossing ink pad. This time I'm bringing in two colors from the Heritage Quad by Seth Apter, and these are the blue Admiral and the green Castleton. Starting with the blue, I'm just dabbing it here and there all over the foliage, and then I'm tipping the excess of back into my jar. Then I'm going to cover the rest of the leaves all in that gorgeous green. Same way as before, the green will stick to anywhere that the blue hadn't covered up my foliage leaves yet. And melting the blue and the green together will create a gorgeous metallic color blend, and that will beautifully complement the warm tones on my card. You can see the blue showing through the green, and it is such a lovely look. I have created some more of these off camera. I'm going to set these aside for the time being while I'm going to work on my final embellishment. From the candle shop by Sizzix die set, I picked out the parts that I needed to create that thin long candle in the middle on the picture. And there's quite a few parts to these. For the two base layers, I am going to use distress oxidings to add color with. For the solid piece, you can see in the middle there, I'm going to use the antique linen. And then I brought in a darker brown, which is the vintage photo, for the more detailed die cut in there. Just using some small blending brushes to add the color. And in here I thought that the vintage photo was a little bit too dark to go with golden glow, so I toned it down a little bit just by dabbing some antique linen on top of that. And that turned out perfect. I'm not so much worried about the base of the candles. I know I will be trimming some of the length away. For these other two pieces, I'm bringing in a gold embossing powder, which goes perfectly with those colors on the candle, and this is the Vegas Gold. This is 1/2 of the $1 million mixed media duo. I won't be using the mixed media additive from the set today, as the Vegas Gold embossing powder is quite chunky on its own. Once melted, it creates a gorgeous textured finish. It's perfect for mimicking the look of melting wax running down the side of my candle. My favorite way of layering detailed die cuts on top of each other is to use a fine tip glue bottle, which allows me just a very thin bead of glue being transferred onto the back of my die cuts. The flames for the candle come in two parts with this die set, and for the base one, which is the larger one of the two flames, I have also embossed with the same gold embossing powder. And for the smaller part of the flame, I'm going to bring back the sparkling sunset. It is the orangey embossing glitter I used on my flowers. And I just heat setting it from underneath, and then I'm dipping it back while it's still warm, so there's no white showing where I held it with my tweezers. And then I'm going to glue it on top of the gold flame. And this finishes off my candle. I will just have to cut it down a little bit. My first thought was to use distress oxidings to add color to the oval frame to go around my window and to the mat to go underneath the textured layer. I was so happy that I waited until now to decide on that, because I thought it would be fun to add that Vegas gold that I used on the candle to both of these. So I am using my Wow Embossing ink pad to add ink to the edges of a 6 1/4 of an inch square white card, and then I'm sprinkling the Vegas gold all over it, and I done the same to that oval frame which I've cut out using the two dies together. This is such a lovely way to color match and texture match different parts of the cards. So once you're putting the card together, it just all really makes sense. I add strong liquid glue to adhere the frame around my opening. Then I raise this entire panel on foam pads. Using all-purpose glue, I am covering up the entire back of the panel that I heat embossed the edges of, and adhering this onto a 6 1/2 inch square card base. Making sure that this oval piece will be sitting in the middle of the opening and not showing any of the edges in there, I am just gluing this flat onto the card base, and then I'm going to add my panel that is raised on foam pads already on top of this. And I'm making sure that an even border of gold is showing on all four sides. My favorite part of card making is arranging all the embellishments that we've prepared into a stunning design. So I'm raising my candle on foam pads and sticking it in the middle of that oval opening. Then I'm using my hot glue to add all my embellishments towards the bottom left corner of the card. And it is time to pick a sentiment. I really wanted to use something along the lines of gratitude or thankfulness, and I went through my stash. I really love the font on the sentiments from the stamp set by Alex Siberia. And I was having a hard time trying to pick which one to use, but I settled for Thankful for Your Friendship. I'm going to stamp and heat emboss this sentiment in gold. For detailed sentiments with fine lettering, it is best to use super fine embossing powder, as it will preserve all the intricate details. I've chosen the polished gold from my stash, which will give you a stunning shine while perfectly complementing all the colors on my card. I'm going to neatly trim around the sentiment just using my scissors and following the lines of those letters. I don't have a matching die set to this, but it's quite easy to cut around this, so it doesn't bother me at all. But if fussy cutting is not something that you like, just grab some sentiment that has matching dies to do this for you. I am using 3D foam behind my sentiment, and I'm adding 2 layers on one end. It is the end that will sit over the oval window. It is to make up for the height difference with the panel that is already popped up on foam. And to finish my card, I'm just adding a gold rhinestone in the middle of each flower. And this finishes the card off. Here are some close-ups. You can see all those bursts of sparkly colors on the top of my oval in there from the glitter. And then look at that gorgeous shine when the light hits those flowers. It's just mesmerizing. It really is so beautiful. And then the golds, the blue and the green are just a perfect combination for this card. I would love to know what you think, so please do leave me a comment in the comment section below. I cannot wait to read your thoughts on this. Make sure you subscribe to the Wow Embossing Powder YouTube channel if you haven't already. Don't miss out on any of the amazing projects from the other design team members as well, all showcasing the fantastic products from Wow Embossing. And I will see you back soon with the next one. Until then, bye!